gonna return to system of equations, but instead of just me giving you a system and you solving the system without having any meaning, we're gonna solve system, but in actual context. We're gonna be solving word problems, okay? Now I'm not gonna give you the equation anymore. You have a problem, you have to read it, you need to come up with the equations, set up your system, and solve it, okay? So we're going to do that the rest of today. I'm going to be doing that on Thursday as well. So make sure that you watch the lecture so you can get more practice, okay? All right, so before I'm going to leave this, are there any questions on this topic before I move on? No? All right, so let's go to this and let's do applications of the system of equations. So here I have a bunch of problems. We're just gonna do whatever we have time to do, and then I'm just gonna continue on Thursday. Okay, so I picked this from the book. I was gonna use the ones in the homework, but then what's the point? Then you don't get to try your skills on your own. So yeah, I did not touch the ones in the homework. Then I just picked some from the book. And there is this little table in the book, which I think is very nice, because this is really what you need to have in your mind every time that you're going to deal with a word problem. Okay, any word problem, this is what you should do. Okay, or a subset of these steps. Step number one, of course, you cannot skip this, right? First thing that you need to do is read the problem. I mean, you have to read the problem, and you read this as many times as you need to. You have to make sure that you understand what the problem is, what's telling you. Understanding doesn't mean knowing how to solve it. You may have no idea how to solve it, but you need to be able to say what's happening in the problem. Okay? So read the problem, make sure that you understand what the problem is telling you. Once you understand what the problem is telling you, then of course you can identify what is it that you need. What are you looking for? What's the question? What is it that you want to answer here? Okay? Once you understand what the problem is telling you, then you can identify what you're looking for. So that's a natural second step. And after that, typically, since it's something that you don't know, typically we're going to use some sort of variable for that. Okay, so you're going to introduce some variables, okay, into your modeling that will have to do with what you want to look for, and also what you are given. Okay. Then typically each sentence will tell you some type of equation. When you have a word problem, typically each sentence will translate into some equation. Okay, read the sentence, read it again, and then using the variables that you have, translate it into equations. And then if you continue with system, it means that you're gonna end up with two equations, solve the system, and then check your answer and answer. So I'll say here steps 1, 2, 3, and 4 are really the key ones, right? Because the others are obvious. Once you have your system, you need to solve it, etc. Okay. So I guess the difficult part is to be able to identify what you want and to do 3 and 4, okay? So 3 and 4. So let's practice these things. So what I'm gonna do is, there are two types of problems for each type. I'm gonna do one, and then I'm gonna let you try the other one, and then we do it together, and then I'm gonna do another type, and then you try a similar one, and so on. Let's start with something very simple. The sum of two numbers is 10. Right? One number is 4 less than the other. Find the numbers. Do you understand the problem? We have two numbers, and they are telling us two things about it. First, that the sum is 10, and second, that one is 4 less than the other. And with that information, we should be able to come up with the numbers. Okay? You okay with this? So we need to find the two numbers. So that means that those are numbers that we don't know. So what do? We assign variables to them. Let's say x and y are the unknowns. Okay? So solution. Let x and y be the two numbers. Okay, so we have defined our variables. Now let's see what can we say about these numbers. Okay, and we may have to come back and rewrite or add something to this sentence. But for now, this is so good. All right, now let's try to see if we can set up our equation. So again, you come back to the beginning of the problem and start reading sentence by sentence. So the first sentence says the sum of the two numbers is 10. How can you write an equation with that information? Here are the two numbers. What can you now write? X plus y equals 10. Does anybody understand this? That's telling you that the sum, I mean, now you know the numbers. They are x, they are y. Of course, we want to know what the value is. But those are the numbers that we're dealing with. The first sentence is telling us that if you add them, you get 10. So you know that if we do x plus y, that equals 10. That's giving us one equation. Do you understand this? All right. Of course, there are many numbers to satisfy this condition, right? So this is not enough. Now, the next sentence nails this down a little bit more. It says one number is 4 less than the other. How can you write this mathematically? So how do you say that one number is 4 less than the other? So one number is the other minus 4.
7.
Does everybody understand this? Yeah, but if I put bigger numbers, then you're not going to be able to. So remember, the idea here is to be able to use the model. So when they say 4 less than the other, there are many things you could say. You could say, oh, the difference is 4, or one number is the other minus 4, or one number is the other plus 4, depending which one is the small, which one is the bigger one. Yes? So here it's important to know which one is the small, which one is the big one. So because these are two numbers, let's say, I don't know, which one you want to be the big one. It doesn't matter, because here it doesn't matter what x and y are. So which one do you want to be the big one? X or y? X. Okay. So let x, y be two numbers, and assume x is greater than or equal than 1. Because, you know, when you have two numbers, one has to be greater than or equal than the other. Or unless they are equal, then that's why I'm writing the equality. Okay? So we have two numbers. Let's say x is the big one. Why am I saying that? Because we need this to be able to write the other equation now. Okay? Now, x is the big one. So what can we say about y? What's y equal to? According to equation number 2, y is the small one, right? What does sentence number 2 tells us?
It's smaller than. What is that? 4.
So y is the small one. So y is 4 less than x,
6.
right? Do you understand this? They said one number is 4 less than the other. Now that means that the smaller guy is y. So y is x minus 4. Or if you want, x is y plus 4. So x is 4 more than y. But that's another way of saying the second sentence. 4 less. So the small number is 4 less than the big one, or the big one is 4 more than the small, right? That's the same idea. Anyway, the point is that the second sentence allows you to write the second equation. Do you understand this? Yes? Okay, that's it. We have our two equations. So once we model the problem, all that is left now is to solve it. So now the solving part is the same thing that you're used to, okay? So before I get to that, do you have any questions on how we arrive here? Is it clear? Yes? Okay, so now decide what method should we use to solve this? So substitution method, right? Just plug in, we're good to go. So we have then that x plus y equals 10. Now we know that y is x minus 4, right? And then finish solving. So we get 2x equals, so that's 14. Just add 4 to the other side. So x is 7. So the big number is 7, as your classmate was pointing out, right? And once you know the big number, then you can plug into your favorite equation to find the other one. Let's plug in number 2 because we get that directly. So then y, which is x minus 4, is 7 minus 4, which is 3. So the two numbers that we're looking for are 3 and 7. So now, you know, typically here now you should write a sentence, find the numbers. Okay, the numbers are 3 and 7. Okay. So the numbers. So if you want, this is the answer right here. The numbers are 3 and 7. Questions? Did you understand how we did this one? All right, so do it again, but with other numbers. exactly the same thing. What are they? 4 and negative 6. Well, let's see. 4 plus negative 6 is negative 2. And it says the sum must be negative 6.
Wait, are you talking about like the equation or like the answer?
Oh, the answer. Now we're going to go back and do the equation. So, yeah, so the two numbers. What are the two numbers? Negative 2 and positive 8. Okay, what's negative 2 plus positive 8? Positive 6. So, all right. Again, you can easily check to see if your answer works, right? Just verify, right? Make sure that that's what it's supposed to do. Let's see, who found the numbers? Negative 8 and 2. Okay, let's see, negative 8 plus 2, that's negative 6. And then one number is 10 less than the other. Okay, good. If you do 2 minus 10, you get negative 8. Good. So that's the answer. Now, let's see how we find it, okay? To find it, we do the same thing that we did above. The variables, write your equations, and then solve, okay? Let's see, everybody got negative 8 and 2? Yes, then why didn't you say okay, all right, so again, we are looking for two numbers, right? We don't know what they are. Let's call them x and y, or whatever is your favorite letter. You don't have to use x and y, okay? So let x and y be the two numbers. And because looking ahead, we see that there is one that's less than the other one, we need to decide which one is the big one. Which one do you want to be the big one? Y. So say y is greater than or equal than x, okay? So we have two numbers and y is bigger than x. Okay, now that we have our variables, let's come back and read from the beginning, sentence by sentence, and write our equation. Let's see, the first sentence. The sum of two numbers is negative 6. What equation does that give you? What's the equation? X plus y equals negative 6. Is that clear? All right. Next sentence. One number is 10 less than the other. So what equation does that give us?
Y equals x minus 10.
Okay, we decided that y is the big one. So it will be the other way around, right? So it will be x is y minus 10. I mean, whoever you decide to be the big one, that's the one that you need to take away 10 from, right? If you want to write y equals x minus 10, then you need to say that x is the big one, okay? It doesn't matter. At the end, we're just going to write sentence. The numbers are these guys. Doesn't matter which one is x, which one is y, okay? You are the one creating this, so you decide. All right, so we go with this. So we have our two equations now solved. What method should we use? Substitution. So I'm just gonna go ahead and plug in. I'm gonna go ahead and plug in x into the first equation, and then solve. So we get 2y is gonna be equal to 4, right? Just move the negative 10 to the other side positive. So we get that y is 2. Everybody okay with this? So y is equal to 2, and then to find x, just plug it into, for example, equation number 2. We already have x. So we know that x is y minus 10, so x will be 2 minus 10, which is negative 8. Again, it doesn't matter who is your x, who is your y. The point is that we have the numbers. What are the numbers? The numbers are 2 and negative 8. That's it. So the answer is the sentence, remember. So find the numbers. Okay, here they are. The numbers are negative 8 and 2. Do you understand this? Yes? All right. Let's do something slightly more interesting now. All right. So now that we have a warm up, then let's step it up. let's see. Geraldine has been offered positions by 2 insurance companies. Okay. The first company pays a salary of $12,000 plus a commission of $100 for each policy sold. The second pays a salary of $20,000 plus a commission of $50 for each policy sold. How many policies will need to be sold to make the total pay the same? So, okay, so do you understand what the problem is saying? Yes? So, 2 job offers, right? So the first one is paying a fixed amount of $12,000 plus some commission. Depending on the number of policies that you sell, there is $100 for each policy. Yes? Okay, that's one offer. The other offer is, okay, they're going to pay you a salary of $20,000. That's fixed. Then plus commission. What is it? Now, this time the commission is $50 for each policy that's sold. Okay? And for example, why is this? I mean, you probably will find offers like this out there when you start looking for a job, like, full-time job, you're no longer a student, etc. And then you have to make a decision, which one is a better offer, which one do I go with, okay? Here, of course, you first want to see when is it that these 2 offers match, right? When do they pay you the same? So how many policies? Of course, it depends on how many policies you're going to sell, right? Because the initial salary for the first one is way lower than the other one, but then the commissions are bigger. So if you sell a lot of commissions, then probably the first one, at some point, the first one is going to match the second one. We want to know when that happens and see if it's real, if it's realistic. For example, it could be that you need to sell 300 policies or maybe 1,000 policies in the year to be able to match. Then probably you say, well, I know I'm not going to sell 1,000 policies, so I'm going to go with the second offer, okay? But maybe if it says that you need to sell 20 policies to match, then you say, well, I know in the year I will sell at least 20 policies, or I feel like I could do that. Then I'm going to go here because if I do more, then I will get more. Do you see what I'm saying? So this is a real life scenario. I mean, and this is something that you may need to decide at some point. Who knows? Anyways, if not, then for the sake of the problem, we're going to do it, okay? So again, there are 2 policies here, so there are 2 things that we need to focus on. How much the first policy is going to pay you, how much the second policy is going to pay, okay? And then we want to make sure that we set them equal to each other because we want to figure out how many policies you need to sell for the pay to be the same, okay? But let's focus on the first company, the first company, the 2 insurance company. So, first of all, the question asks how many policies need to be sold, and we need to know what they are. So let X be the number of policies. So solution, let's call the number of policies, let's call it X. Let X be the number of policies sold. Okay, let's assume that you're going to sell an X amount of policies in the year. Okay, now let's see how much the first company is going to pay you. If you sell X policies, what's your salary according to the first company? So salary 1. So salary 1. By this I mean the salary of the first company. Do you understand this? Yes? So I don't know, let's call it Y. So let's call the salary 1. So let's see, our salary, let's call it Y. Okay, let's call our salary Y. And we want the pay to be the same. Okay, so first company, right. So according to the first company, what will be your salary? You can tell me.
12,000 plus 100x.
Very good. So $12,000. Nobody's gonna take this away from you. Okay, and then plus a little extra if you sell something. Well, $100 for each policy that you sell. So you do 100 times X. If you sell 5, if you say 5 policies, then that's an extra $500 you're gonna get on top of the 12,000. You understand this? You sell 10 policies, that's an extra $1,000, and so on. You okay with this? All right. So that's the salary according to the first company. Now let's figure out the salary according to the second company. So according to the second company, Remember, we want the same salary. That's important. So that's the same Y. Y is our salary. So the same Y that we have here is the one that we're gonna put here. Okay? We want the same pay. All right. So what's the salary according to a second company? What is it? 20,000. That's it.
Plus 50.
Plus
50x.
plus 50x. Does everybody understand this? And here is our system. We have our system, and then because we're using the same x, we're using the same y, then the solution to the system will tell us, of course, we know we want the salaries to be the same, so the y is the same. We are really interested in x, right? Because the question is how many policies need to be sold. So we are really interested in the x value to answer this question. Does that make sense? What should this little number here be? What should this x be so that these two quantities match? So I guess here the obvious thing is just to, because the two things are y equals something, just set them equal to each other, right? The same y. So substitution method, just plug this in here and solve. So we have 20,000 plus 50x. We want it to be equal to 12,000 plus 100x. And use a substitution. And now let's solve. All right, so x is to one side. So let's see, I'm gonna bring the 50x to the right, just to keep it positive. So 100 minus 50, that's 50, and the 12,000 to the left. So 20,000 minus 12,000, that's $8,000. And dollars, 8,000. So x is gonna be 8,000 divided by 50. Okay. So let's see. Here we can cancel one of the zeros, and then 800 divided by 5. Okay, that's 160. Okay, we don't really need to go. I mean, you can go and plug in to get the y. That way, you know what the salary will be. Okay, but this is telling us that you need to sell 160 policies for the two pays to match. Okay, now of course, if you sell more than this, then option number one is better because then you're going to be getting more commission. You see, at this point, after 160, they're going to meet. But then the way this looks like, if you think about it, the red one is it has slope 100. So I'm just gonna, and let's say it's 12,000. So let's say here is 12,000. So you have an idea. Let's say 12,000 is over here. Let's say 12K, and let's put over here 20K. So this is the y-intercept for the first one. It has a slope of 100. And then the y-intercept for the other one is over here. It has a slope of 50, so it's half of that. So it's gonna be like this. You see, the red grows faster than the blue. But of course, at the beginning, the blue is on top. You're getting more money at the beginning because you start with a higher salary with the blue one. But there's a point in time in which they meet. We figured out this point. This point is 160. When you sell 160, you have the same salary. But after that, if you sell more, now the red takes over, and you're gonna make more money with the first salary. Okay. Now, of course, the question now is it realistic to expect that you're gonna sell this many policies in the year and all of that? Now, that's another story that you have to consider. Okay. But if it's possible to do more than this, even then, probably you should go with the first one. Okay. Right. Anyways, this is aside. This is for you to understand what's happening. Okay. So the answer is, what will be the answer to this question? So how many policies will need to be sold to make the total pay the same?
160.
So 160 policies. I mean, I'm not gonna write the complete sentence. We are not in elementary anymore. So you understand what I mean. 160 policies. Okay, questions? Is that clear? All right, so see, try this one. Do you agree that this is essentially the same problem than the one that we just did?
Yeah.
Same situation, just different numbers. Okay, anybody has the number of suits? Yes? 1,000?
Yeah.
You get 1,000? All right, so let's see. I don't know, same thing. Let's suppose X is number of suits, okay? And then let's say Y is the salary, okay? Then, the first company is gonna tell us an equation for Y, the second company will tell us another equation for Y. So, company A. Okay, what equation does company A give us for the salary?
22,000 plus 10.
Plus 10x. Everybody okay with this? That's company A. Now, what does company B say?
28,000 plus 4x.
So company B tells us 28,000 plus 4x. All right, and now we just have to solve the system. Again, same x, same y, so this is a system. And just like before, just set them equal to each other. So 22,000, because we want to have the same pay, okay? We're gonna figure out when they match. And now we solve. So x is to the left, numbers to the right. So that would be 6x equals, so 28,000 minus 22,000, that's 6,000. Good. And then x is 1,000. Yes? So the answer would be 1,000 suits. That's how many suits he needs to sell to be able to match, for the two salaries to match. Okay. Any questions? For example, why something like this would be important? If you read the problem, you see this guy, he's already working at the first company and he already has a salary, but he has experience in this. So he already knows how many suits he's able to sell in a year. He knows. Now the second company comes and say, hey, I'm gonna give you this other offer. I will pay you more fixed, but then I'm gonna lower your commission. Then you need to decide, should I jump or not? Well, it depends. Do you sell 1,000 suits a year? If you do, and if you do more, then it's probably a good idea, because the slope. Let's see. Or just say no, it's not a good idea, because if you sell this or more, then you should stay where you are, because this has a big slope. So eventually you're gonna make more money here. Okay. Now, if you know that you never made this, because at the beginning you start higher here. This is more, right? The Y intercept is big, it's 28,000. So if you sell around 500 suits a year or even less, probably you should go with the new offer and then leave the company. Okay. So of course there are other factors that you need to consider, but anyways. Okay. Any questions? No? All right. So